Noni Madueke to Arsenal. Noni Madueke to Arsenal. Madueke Noni to Arsenal. Chukwunonso Madueke. It appears to be he appears to be on his way to Arsenal. I mean, this is not a done deal, but this, as they say, where there's smoke, then there's definitely some kind of fire. And the smoke, as of right now, is coming from none other than Florian Plettenberg, aka Pletigo. Pletigo has pretty much, I mean, he's just been blowing smoke up our butt for the past day, really. Talking about that Arsenal has made an offer. And a lot of people, Fabrizio hasn't been quick to jump on it. He's kind of been dragging his feet. But I mean, just about an hour ago, Plettenberg has pretty much said, "Listen, that there's an Arsenal offer for Nani, and it's 100% confirmed as revealed today, and he's one of several options for our Teta's wing play." And obviously, like we Chelsea fans, we know that Nani is a right winger. Arsenal's right winger is none other than Bukayo, Saka, right? So, and like I mean, you're not going to be jumping in front of Saka at Arsenal. You go into Arsenal, you're going to be, if you're going to play at right wing, it's going to be on the bench. But also, we've seen him play at left wing for Chelsea. It's not necessarily Nani's best wing, but he can be, on any given game, can be quite effective at left wing when he's in the mood. That's the key word. The key word is when Nani is in the mood, he can be quite effective on left wing, at the left wing, obviously at the right wing as well, but certainly at the left wing. So, and if you've watched enough Arsenal games, I mean, hate watch and whatnot, I mean, you'd notice that on the left wing, I believe their starting left winger is Martinelli is their starting left winger. So, and he's been blowing hot and cold. So that's obviously a bit of an opportunity there, right? To bring in a player, Nani, who can play both on the right wing and on the left wing. And this past season, he has scored 7 goals, and I believe he registered another 3 assists. Now that's 10 goals and assists in total. I mean, it's not massive, but it's not poor, right? It's somewhere in between. However, when you look at the numbers a little more closely, you'll see that you will notice that 3 of his goals came in one game against that wild, crazy game away at Wolves early in the season where we won 6-2. Nani had a hat trick in that game, and that was obviously his best game of the season, and it was pretty much downhill from then onwards for Nani, and I think that's the frustration for us fans, Chelsea fans. It's not that Nani is not a good player or is not a talented player. Like we know, that's why there's a lot of mixed opinions on Nani, because we know that he has massive talent. His dribbling ability is on point, right? Is on point. That's actually his strength, right? I mean, Nani's strength is his dribbling, right? However, Nani's weakness is mental is the mental side of the game. That's the thing. I mean, I know he has issues with uh, um, making the right decision and whatnot. I mean, you can point that towards the mental, but that's not what I mean in terms of the mental side. His main issue is just not being mentally and consistently switched on, focused in the game. Like you, right? From that angle. I mean, for me, as a fan, it goes towards the professionalism of the player, right? Because at this level, at the highest level, every tiny little aspect of your game that can be improved upon. If it's not being improved upon, then it's going to be seen as a liability. And that's the issue with Nani. It's not that he cannot dribble or he cannot score. He can dribble. He can get by just about any fullback. He can take you left. He can take you right. Right. He's actually he has actually improved massively. I recall when he arrived at Chelsea 2 years ago at a fee of 29 million pounds, I believe, from PSV in the Dutch league. We paid 29 million pounds for Nani. Back 2 years ago, Nani was just painfully one-footed, painfully left foot. He literally had no right foot. It was so painful to watch. Like his right foot was just there just to basically support him to support his left foot, right? But credit to Nani. Over the past 2 seasons, he's been working on his right foot, and his right foot has actually made him more dangerous. He has scored a few goals with his right. In fact, the hat trick that he had against Wolves, 2 of those 3 goals were actually scored with his right foot. In as much as his strong foot is his left. Right now, why is he on the chopping block? Well, again, it goes to the mental side. That's why I keep pointing. I keep mentioning the mental side. The mental side is just your overall body language, your overall focus in the game, being mentally switched on throughout the game. That's where Nani just has been struggling for the pretty much for the last 2 years. For the 2 years he has been with us, like in some games he's just dialed in. When he's dialed in, he's sweet. He's very sweet, right? But the problem is with Nani is if Nani plays, I want to say 5, maybe 6 or 7 games, he'll probably be mentally dialed in 1 out of 6 games, 1 out of 7 games. I mean, in a best case deal, 1 out of 5 games, he'll be like fully. When I say switched on, I'm talking about from the start to the finish. Like when you watch Caicedo, Palmer, all these guys, there are professionals on the field. Even young players like Colwell. These players are not switched off. They're always just mentally into the game and into just getting their work done. What the manager expects from them, both from an offensive part of the game and a defensive part of the game. They're going to give you a full shift. Now, it doesn't mean that the team is going to win or even draw the game, but you're not going to have a question as to whether the player left anything on the pitch, because they don't leave anything on the pitch. They give everything for their team. And if you notice those players like Enzo as well, they've just been in improving from season to season, right? They've been improving from season to season. You're not going to ask, oh, where's his goals and assists and whatnot, because you already know that this player is your guy. I mean, whether they start, whether they are subbed off or whether they come off the bench, these players give you the same effort every single time. And unfortunately, I cannot say the same for Nani. Has not been that guy. He hasn't been the player that'll give us everything every single time, right? If he's not starting, uh, especially when he doesn't start, when he comes off the bench, Nani has a lot of times when he comes off the bench, you can tell that he's not happy. Now I'm not saying that a player should be happy sitting on the bench and coming on. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you should be a professional, whether you are start the game or whether you come off the bench. We should get the exact same level of concentration and focus and commitment, whether you start or you come off the bench. But with Nani, when he comes off the bench, more often than not, you will see Nani is not giving you the effort, the same effort as the players who've been on the field for like an hour or like 70 minutes. And then in some games where he starts, he's just I mean switched on half the time. The other half the time he's just not switched on, right? And that is why I feel like at a point the manager is open for an improvement. If there's an option to bring in another player, right? Then at a point he's because the manager is also under pressure. I mean, Maresca is under pressure every game. So at a point he's just gonna get tired and say, listen, okay, if you guys Kudus, if you all can get Kudus, then bring him in, and if it involves sending Nani to another team, then be it, right? And I don't think per se that Maresca wants like he's demanding Nani to be sold. No, he's not demanding him to be sold. But if he probably feels like if there's another player that's going to give him everything that he needs that player to give him, and he can rely on that player week in week out, it's easier to basically work with that player than to work with Nani, and that's probably a massive reason why Nani is on the chopping block as of right now, and possibly on his way to Arsenal. And that's just my take on it. Again, I mean, I like Nani. I'm not even a Nani critic. Actually, the funny thing is, I actually prefer Nani to start games over Neto. Not because he's that much better or whatever, but because me personally, I prefer wingers that just are all about giving penetration, basically getting behind the fullback. That is Nani's strength. He's all about trying to get behind the fullback. If you leave him 1-on-1, he's gonna take you on. Whereas with Neto doesn't always try to take on the fullback. Half the time, more than half the time, Neto is not even gonna try. He's just gonna either back pass or like cross the ball. I mean, I prefer players that like to dribble. Maybe it's just that African blood in me, but what it is I prefer players that like to just put the ball on the ground, take you left, take you right, use space, speed, whatever, trickery, and just get by their man. That's just my thing, and that's what you get from Nani, and that's what we're not going to be getting if he ends up going to Arsenal. Now, how much are they bidding? Nobody knows. As I mentioned, we bought him. We paid Chelsea paid 29 million pounds for him 2 years ago. So, and in this day and age, right, where 20-year-old Gittins went for 55 million pounds. Pedro, João Pedro went for, what is it, 55 plus 5. That's like up to 60 million pounds, right? So, the honey should be somewhere in and around between 55 million to 60 or 60 plus. And that's, he's still just 23 years old. He's English. He has England caps. He's actually part of Tuchel's plan. He's most likely going to be in the World Cup next year for England. So this player has a lot of financial value. That's just the reality. And he's a player that, unlike previous players that Arsenal have bought from Chelsea, is a player who's not quite even in his prime yet. He's so he's the sky is still his limit if he's able to get his head on right and concentrate. So as you guys can tell, I don't have. I'm not a Noni hater. I'm a Chelsea fan. I don't mind Nani. If Nani's will stay, I'm good. If he gets sold and we end up with Kudus, then I'm okay, because if you ask me to I'll take one between Kudus and Nani. You guys already saw my Kudus video. I prefer Kudus over Nani, and I explained why. So there's no need for me to go back to begin to go on a long-winded rant with regards to that decision. So that's where we are. Let's keep an eye on this. Probably by tomorrow, you might hear something that will be a little bit more concrete. As I mentioned, Plettenberg has said that an Arsenal offer for Nani is 100% confirmed. So there's definitely some money on the table. However, the much money is, we don't know. We're just gonna wait. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll have a much better idea as to what the bid amount is, and whether he's going to go. And if a bid if it's fair within that 55 to 60 million, then it's basically a done deal, because what's going to happen is Chelsea's going to take that money and just hand that money over to West Ham, and buy Kudus from West Ham, and just keep this thing moving. That's all I have today. How do you all feel about the possibility of Nani moving over to our Arsenal? You guys are already seeing that I'm not really too we've done deals with Arsenal. We've done a lot of deals. I can go on and on. If you're a Chelsea fan, it goes all the way back to the Ashley Cole Gallas swap deal. Ashley Cole to us, and we sent Gallas plus cash to Arsenal during Arsene Wenger's time, way about 20 years ago. So we've been doing deals. We've been doing big deals with Arsenal, and for the most part, it's worked out for Chelsea. So it is what it is. This is not the time to say, they are a rival, top four, this, that, and the other. It did not stop Jose and them doing deals from way back, and it's not gonna stop now. So how do y'all feel? Please leave your comments, like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you guys. Peace.